Hi, my name's Stephanie, and this is my daughter Liliana. And about a year ago, we found out she had scoliosis. And I knew because she has an older stepsister who had scoliosis. And I didn't really know much about scoliosis or anything about alternative treatments. So we went the traditional bracing route, and she ended up having surgery. And so when I found out Liliana had scoliosis, I've been learning a lot more about natural health and a lot more about natural intervention versus surgical intervention or anything else. And so I was thinking there has to be a different way. So we had a family chiropractor, and she had never been. So I was like, well, let's try chiropractic. Might as well, right? It has to do with her bones. And so that was about a year ago. So we found out she had scoliosis about a year ago. She had her first X-ray. Her curve was moderate, and I kind of remembered from our previous experience with scoliosis that it couldn't get to 40 degrees. That was kind of the number in my head. So I was like, okay, well, let's get to the chiropractor right away. So she started adjustments twice a week, and we said, well, we'll just see in 6 months, do another X-ray. So we did twice a week for 6 months, and we went to the X-ray and her curve had gotten worse. And so I was like, oh dear, okay, what do I do? So, of course, I went to the internet and I researched and came across Clear, and I just really liked how much information was on the website. That was a huge thing. And so I read through a lot of that stuff, and of course then I go to see, well, who is the Clear practitioner that's closest to me? And there was one in New Jersey, I think, and one in Florida. And then there was Dr. Myers in Chicago. And I said, okay, well, let me, map this out. So that was 5 hours away. And so at that point, I was like, okay, her curve is just getting worse. I have to do something. This seems like something that's doable. 5 hours seemed more doable than 8 hours or more. And I couldn't find anyone nearer to us that had, I felt the qualifications really to do much. So I said, well, I don't really have to commit. I can just go see, at least I can do that. 5 hours, one trip, it's not too bad. It still took me probably about a month to really convince myself that this was the way to go, because it was going to be kind of a huge commitment, because I was like, okay, well, obviously we can't, drive out to Chicago once or twice a week. So I was like, but they had intensives, and I was like, wow, an intensive 1 week. Okay, I could probably do 1 week. Like that's probably, oh gosh, that's probably doable. And then of course there was the cost factor. But anyways, I said, well, at least I can check it out. So I made the phone call, and I felt better after making the phone call to at least I'm on my way to doing something. Because with scoliosis, it's just, every day it's just getting worse. So when we initially came, it's beautiful, of course. You see how beautiful it is. And everyone was really nice. And when I talked to Liz on the phone, and she had sent out the paperwork and stuff, and everything just seemed very efficient. And that was the first thing that I noticed that sort of was in the column of, okay, this might be a good idea. And so we ended up coming up, I think in May was when we came up. And I think the thing that kind of pushed me over the edge to say, this is something I really need to do, was just how, when Dr. Myers first did her initial examination, he was just so confident in what he knew. Like you could tell this is something that he has committed his life to, and he knew so much about, and he just could look at her and was, of course, all the jargon, but he was like, there's this, I can tell this just by looking at her, and then I saw him adjust her, and it was just like kind of levels above like what I'd ever seen at a chiropractor. And I was like, and he was actually adjusting her and looking at x-rays as he's adjusting her. And I was like, yeah, that's that's what we need. Like, that's what we need, is we need that kind of attention to what is actually going on and what this individual patient needs. And so we went back home, and I told my husband, who wasn't with us, this is what we got to do. And of course, he's very used to me saying, oh, this is what we got to do. But I talked to him about it. I talked to him about how I felt, and he said, well, if you think this is, what we need to do, I'm behind you. So then came kind of the logistics. It was a lot of money, and that was the thing that really was the first hurdle, because of course insurance isn't going to cover it. Insurance will cover the surgery, which costs probably 10 times as much, but it won't cover something that keeps the person whole. My husband and I kind of went back and forth, and I just said, we kind of have to, this is her whole life, and if we don't do something now, it's just going to get worse. And so we did commit to it, but then of course we had the question of the time, because, when we first come and they said, well, I will do intensive, and they said 2 weeks. And I was thinking, oh, well, I was hoping we'd get away with 1. I have a number of kids, and my youngest is 3. And so I was like, can I be away from my kids for that long? And plus that increases the cost, as having to have somewhere to stay, having to think about having to find not just a hotel, but someplace that has a kitchen, and that's, if you've tried doing that, that's not as easy as it sounds. And trying to decide, are we going to bring the whole family? Can we afford to bring the whole family? And what about dad's work? And what about, various other activities? It upsets your whole life, to think about leaving everything, even just for 2 weeks, So finally, I just decided, I'm like, it's going to have to just be me and Lily. Like, I just don't see any. I thought about, bringing little kids with me or bringing older kids with me. And I was like, I don't think that there's any way we can actually do that. So, but I am telling you that through this experience, just seeing how competent everyone is, it's just the competency has really impressed me. And the fact that they always treated her like an individual and like someone who they were treating her. They were treating Lily, and they were always concerned with her curve, and we got a lot of improvement. Now I know that 90% of that is her doing the work, which I am very thankful that she's willing to do the work, but you have to know what to do in order for anything to actually have an effect. And that's what I feel like I've gotten here at Wheaton Chiropractic, is I've gotten the know-how and the direction. You have to have a plan. I could have kept doing regular chiropractic, which I believe in, for years, and it would have just gotten worse, and I would have been confused. And you almost know, you can almost tell that something is more towards the right way, how rare it is, and that's why I was willing to travel, and that's why I was willing to upset my life, and that's why I was willing to spend the money, because I really believe this is an investment in my daughter's future, so that she can actually be whole, have a chance to be whole, and it's not just having a straight back, it's about being healthy, and if we can address those underlying things, she has just foundation. She has a foundation, and I'm really pleased with her just in these 2 weeks. How much of a reduction in her curve we've gotten, and it's a boost to know that we have a springboard to go forward and to keep reducing our curve, because we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen, and all the stuff that we did here, with all the special equipment, they've given us the resources to do it at home. And so I feel very confident that, even though I might have to push her through the days that she's like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, that I can look at the book that they gave us at the end, which is awesome, and say, look, this is what we achieved, with this sacrifice, you know, with this, and you know, I don't ever want to beat her over the head with like, look, we spent all this money, you know, but we did this investment. Now it's your turn to kind of run with it, because not everybody gets this chance. Not everybody gets this chance. So, anyways, I'm very happy with Dr. Myers and the whole staff here at Wheaton Family Chiropractic, and I feel like we're going to have a relationship for the rest of our lives. And one, I keep thinking about some way, how can I get all my family up here to have adjustments at Dr. Myers? But I don't know, pipe dreams. But just thank you. Thank you so much. Everyone here, you've given me hope. And these things are just few and far between that you get hope in the medical field. So I would greatly encourage anyone who's on the fence, just do it. Just really do it, and come at it from a mindset point of view. I got really fortunate that Lily is a hard worker, and she does believe kind of in my vision of not having too much medical intervention. She believes in that. But just, if you have a child or yourself who needs it, just think about it just as a mindset thing, that you have to get to the point where you can do it. Sorry, I'm rambling now. But thank you. I'm done.